What is up, everybody, and welcome to the All-NBA show powered by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/All-NBA. I'm your host, Adam Mares. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, the man with the inside scoop from over at the Stein Line and DLLS Mavs. It's Marc Stein. Marc, Happy New Year to you. How you doing?
Happy New Year, Adam Mares. Another year of our partnership. I hope you are ready. I hope you've rested up.
I'm rested up, man. It's going to be our best year yet. I can feel it. Despite all of the stuff happening to my beloved Nuggets, not off to a great start to the year.
Yeah, what's going on with that? What is the deal?
I think we're done, knock on wood. I hope this is the end of the bad news because it's just been coming one after the other. Of course, Jonas Valanciunas, the latest Nugget to fall to the injury report. We're going to talk about that later on. Just can the Nuggets survive? They have like 7 healthy bodies. They're going to have to survive for a month. We're going to talk about that as well as LeBron James's all-star prospects and future hopes. And are people selling the Thunder? Have the Thunder lost a little shine? Is this a wide open title race now? And people are not looking at it like there's one juggernaut everybody else is chasing. We're going to talk about all of that. But first, I always ask you what people are talking about. Every week when we prepare for the show, I say, what are people talking about behind the scenes? And you told me this week it's Michael Porter Jr.'s trade prospects. He might be one of, if not the hottest commodity on the trade market. What are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, part of me suggesting that was also just because I want your reaction to it.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Nuggets just traded Michael Porter Jr. away. But yeah, I mean, look, it's trade season. It's January 2nd. The trade deadline is February 5th. You know, there's been so much discussion about Giannis Antetokounmpo's status, Anthony Davis's status, Trae Young's status. Even before that, you know, so many guards were talked about. Ja Morant, LaMelo Ball. Like, we've had all these marquee names being discussed, but this week there has undeniably been a good bit of Michael Porter Jr. chatter because he's played really well. The Nets went 7-4 in December, and they've been much more competitive, I think, truthfully, than they want to be. The Nets can't come out and say it.
Yeah.
But actually, if you go back and you think before the season, Joe Tsai, their owner, did a podcast, not a sports podcast, but of course, the Nets came up, and Joe Tsai in that interview basically admitted that the Nets' focus this season is getting as good a pick as they can. And they go 7-4 in December. They're winning all these games. Michael Porter Jr. is playing the best basketball of his life. And it's just very interesting that because of the way the Nuggets are structured with Jokic and Murray and Gordon as the 3 main players, and that's an expensive trio, the Nuggets felt like they had to trade Michael Porter Jr. away to bring it, replace him with someone who makes a lot less money in Cam Johnson, but also give themselves the flexibility to bring in a Valanciunas to fortify their depth. But now, half a year later, Michael Porter Jr.'s contract is seen as pretty reasonable in this trade market with only a couple years left on it. And the Nets are in a really strong position here. They don't have to trade Michael Porter, and I wouldn't say that they are shopping him. By all accounts, they'll take the calls, they'll listen to the pitches, but they don't have to move him now. Now, they might ultimately decide, you know what, we're winning too many games with him. Maybe it is better to trade him. But the Nets could say, you know what, we're going to wait till the offseason and, see how we do in the lottery. And, maybe it's part of a larger deal in the offseason. But I would say as we move now a month within the trade deadline, we have to track this. There is a possibility he has moved again.
Well, I think first of all, his salary is phenomenal because it is an expiring contract next year. I look at this one and think there's not a lot of risk to Michael Porter at this moment. Before, you worried about health because of the back surgeries. You worried because there's a max contract, and then you wondered, but just how good is he? Could he actually play an elevated role? He's in that Denver system where everybody seems to get a bump, but the contract now becomes an expiring. You look at what he's doing this year, 26 points per game. He's maintained the efficiency that he had in Denver and just brought it up a level, scoring from basically 19 points a game to 26. That's a huge bump. And he does it in a way that every team needs. It's 3-point shooting. He has some shot creation. I think that gets you excited. But he's doing it with 3-point shooting, which just fits with every team. Every team could use an extra elite shooter. So I look at it to me now and I say Brooklyn took the risk because it was 2 years. They had to take him this year and next year. Now we're past that. You're now just worried about the next 3 months. Can he get you through this? And then he becomes an expiring contract if you want to flip him. So I imagine that his contract, his max contract, is actually an advantage for him at this very moment. And that teams look at it and just wonder, hey, can we add 26 points a game to our roster?
Yeah, and look, Milwaukee is the first team you look at because even though I don't know how many times I've come on the show and we've talked about Giannis trade prospects and the Bucks keep saying, stop talking about that, guys. We're not trading him. And, more recently, the Bucks have tried to get this message out that we are buyers at this trade deadline. We are trying to add to our team to make it stronger. So I don't think there's any question that Michael Porter Jr. is the kind of shooter who would seriously help the Bucks. Now, can they come up with an offer attractive enough to get him? The other players, most of the players that the Bucks have been linked with this trade season, it's Zach LaVine, it's Jeremy Grant. These are not seen as very favorable contracts, but I would say, I agree with you. And Jake Fisher did a tremendous piece on my Substack yesterday about the entire Michael Porter Jr. market, and he just goes into great depth on all of these things. But he's quoted multiple executives in there who said what you just said, that Michael Porter Jr.'s trade value has swiftly rebounded. His reputation within the league is, has bounced. I don't know if even bounce back's the right word, because the guy played a very important part on a championship team. I mean,
Correct.
You lived it. I mean, he was playing off Jokic, but he was fantastic in his role. And Denver doesn't win that first championship in NBA history without his contributions. I think that's fair to say. But look, the Nets have been campaigning here last couple of weeks to get him an all-star spot, and
why not?
He might get it. He might very well get it. I mean, he's been that good. And so I think he has become one of the most interesting names of this trade season.
Well, you look at one of the concerns I think people had was his defense. What can you do defensively if he is on your team? Because he is a little stiff, not that the most mobile guy. In December, the Brooklyn Nets had the number 1 ranked defense. It wasn't just that they were winning games because they were outgunning you and Michael Porter scoring. They had the number 1 defense. So I think that's another question mark, that if you're a contender and you're worried about that, you say, hey, well, he was able to contribute to this. So what do you think Brooklyn would want back in a potential MPJ deal? Because I think you're correct. Last year, and we referenced this the last time we did a show together, last year they traded away Dennis Schroeder on December 15th, in part because they were winning too many games. They were trying to tank last year too. They're in a similar spot now to where they can make their team worse and give themselves a great chance at getting a top 3 pick in this upcoming draft. But what do you think they want back? Is it draft capital? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
And the question is going to be, can anybody in season come up with enough to get the Nets to do this? Because the only reason for the Nets to do this now is if they feel like, you know what, we are winning too many games, we are too competitive, and that was the place they were last year. And yet again, Jordi Fernandez has these guys too competitive for their own good. They don't want to be going 7-4 in December. That they're not going to say that, but that is the truth.
Right.
They want to, they're dreaming of a top 3 pick in this upcoming lottery. Everybody, this draft has a lot of teams excited at the very top, and the Nets are outright hoping for lottery luck. So that's really their only motivation to do this, because again, you might be able, Michael Porter Jr.'s salary would be pretty useful if the Nets had it in June and they want to take a big swing and they want to make an aggressive trade for a star level player. But look, I mentioned the Bucks, and I think Detroit. It is not yet confirmed that Detroit has actively pursued this, but Michael Porter Jr. as a shooter makes a lot of sense for the Pistons. And,
I agree.
you know, they were initially mentioned as an Anthony Davis team, and I'm pretty sure we've covered this on one of my previous appearances. I said that Detroit's interest in Anthony Davis was vastly overstated. That has proven to be the case. The Pistons have consistently messaged they don't want to make some really splashy, expensive move for an older player. Anthony Davis also wants an extension if he gets moved somewhere. Like, that's not the move that Detroit is looking to make at this early stage of their evolution as a playoff contender. But Michael Porter Jr. as a shooter, I mean, let's remember, you know, this team lost Malik Beasley, who was just a lights out shooter last season. They also lost Tim Hardaway Jr. Now, they took measures to try to replace those guys by bringing in LeVert, bringing in Duncan Robinson. But you said it very well. Every team with aspirations of doing anything in the playoffs can always use an extra shooter. And that's why the Nets phone is going to keep ringing. Will we see a Michael Porter Jr. deal in the next month? It's not yet clear if we will, but I think we're going to continue to hear of teams interested, scenarios making the rounds, and it'll ultimately be, are the Nets demands met? And I'm not so sure that they'll get enough of an offer to force them to do it now.
Well, to your point, if they get to the summer and they don't ruin their draft position by too much by keeping winning, he still has value because he's still like, okay, now you have another, it's true expiring contract now. So they do have this sense of, it's not like the window of opportunity is closing for them here in the coming weeks.
No, not at all. They do not have to trade him. They really don't.
Oh. Well, let me throw another team out there for you that I just wonder. It's the Golden State Warriors. I think they long have coveted Michael Porter Jr. shooting. You know, they knew what they did with Klay Thompson alongside Steph Curry. They clearly need a shakeup to their roster. They're not playing very well this season. Things are coming off the rails a little bit. So are they a team that could be interested?
In Jake's story, what Jake covered is that the Warriors have had some internal discussions already about whether to pursue Michael Porter Jr. The issue there really is, if you go back to last offseason when Jonathan Kuminga was a restricted free agent, it became pretty clear that the Nets were not going to be a team that goes after Kuminga. And the rumbles continue to be that the Nets don't have Kuminga interest. So the Warriors are already in this position that to make a truly big swing, like to go after Anthony Davis, the Warriors couldn't do that unless they included Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler, and the Warriors do not want to do that. If the Nets don't have Kuminga interest, I don't really see how that could get done, unless the only way is if it becomes a multi-team deal. Does a third or fourth team emerge? Is there a team out there that wants Kuminga? They get involved, and then they become a facilitator, because, like I said, I don't think the Nets are interested in taking Kuminga and that kind of swap.
Well, I wouldn't rule out a 3-team trade. I mean, this is kind of how moves like that happen. So it is always a possibility, but the more teams you add, the more difficult, of course, the mechanics of it all become. What about the trade market in general, though? It is, when you said that, so February 5th, is that the deadline? That's almost exactly 1 month. It's going to come quick. So what is your expectation for the trade deadline this year?
Well, the reality, last season's trade deadline was the craziest deadline of my 3+ decades doing this. You know, obviously the Luka Thunderbolt, as we're taping this is actually 11 months to the day of the Luka trade. And I still don't believe it. I still can't believe, I still turn on Laker games and I'm just like,
what?
Like, it is still hard to believe. But then after that, De'Aaron Fox and Zach LaVine in the same deal. Jimmy Butler going to Golden State. I mean, it was a wild deadline. And so my instinct after that is always like, it has to regress to the mean. It can't be like that again. Now, look, there are big names. We've said them all already. Giannis, AD, right. Trey. I mean, there's curiosity and chatter, I guess. But look, the Bucks continue to say over and over and over, we are not trading Giannis. We are buyers at this trade deadline. We are trying to improve our team. The Giannis situation, unless Giannis Antetokounmpo goes to the Bucks and says, I want out. I want you to trade me. I want you to do it now. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And that has not happened yet. And is that going to happen mid-season? Is that going to happen in the next month? It's hard to see that right now. Anthony Davis, it's so difficult to trade a player who Anthony Davis makes $58+ million next season. He's got a $63 million player option in 2026-27, and he wants an extension. It's not easy to do a deal like that during the season. The Hawks have shown a level of interest to this point, but I can't promise you, I certainly cannot promise you an Anthony Davis trade. And Trae Young is part of that, because if the Hawks were to bring in Anthony Davis in a trade and Trae Young says, you know what? I don't like the looks of free agency for me this summer. I'm opting in to my $49 million player option for next season. The Hawks payroll suddenly skyrockets. You've now added AD, and if Trae stays, so that's hard. It's hard to imagine that series of moves in Atlanta. So look, you know how it is in the modern NBA. We are now in the year 2026. No trade is a small trade. Even the seemingly smallest of trades whips the basketball public into a frenzy. So I think we're gonna see action as we get closer to the deadline. There will be moves, but realistically, we have to remember how wild it was last season. And, I don't think you can expect that 2 years in a row. I just don't.
I still think there are teams that could emerge into the trade market, and Houston's one of them. Houston fans have been yelling at me all year when I say that I think that they should do what they can this year to make their window as wide as possible, because I think Rockets fans look at this and want to keep it open as long as possible. But I use the Denver Nuggets as an example for this. First of all, they lost 2 years of their prime because of the Jamal Murray first injury, the ACL injury. And then you look at it, a season like this, 2 weeks ago, my confidence in the Nuggets was just through the roof. I thought they were a great team. They're going to contend. You lose Cam Johnson, Christian Brown, Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic, Jonas Valanciunas. These things happen. They happen in the NBA, and you'll kick yourself if you say, this year it's not that worth it to go for it, because you don't know what future years hold. So I look at this and just say, in today's NBA, it feels like a miracle to make it to the playoffs as a fully healthy roster. If you have a chance, if you get to the deadline and you're healthy and you're a competitor and you have a chance to make yourself even better, I just think you have to. In today's NBA, you have to take your biggest swings every single time, because the odds of you being healthy multiple years in a row is so low.
Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets have looked like we came into the season thinking this might be the foremost challenger to the Thunder. And when you consider that they've pretty much never been at full strength, they've looked so good, but it's just ridiculous now. I mean, It's like, and everybody's saying if Jokic only misses 15 games, I mean, he's going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks. That doesn't mean he's playing in 4 weeks in a day, most likely. Now, you have to say, Giannis Antetokounmpo only missed 8 games with that calf strain. He came back faster than expected. If I'm the Nuggets, though, am I giving Jokic extra time? I'm sure you know him better than me. from afar, it would seem like I would anticipate him to like, I'm ready. I can come back. I want to play. But like the Nuggets have had so many injuries. Why rush it?
Why rush it? Because you might find yourself in the play-in. That's why. I mean, the Nuggets now are in serious danger of having to go the hardest possible route through the playoffs. And that's why you would try to get him back. And it's possible this injury doesn't lend it, like torn ligaments, soft tissue. Those ones maybe lend themselves to worse injuries. From what I understand of this Brown bruise, maybe not necessarily as much of a risk for those types of things. It's more of a pain tolerance.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful. I mean, injuries have been, a constant topic in the modern NBA. We talk about injuries as much as trades. But that one was just a bad luck freak thing. I mean, what can you say? A teammate goes careening into him. There's nothing you can do.
Same thing with Cam Johnson. The injuries have been strange ones for Denver, unfortunately. Just kind of some bad luck type stuff. But all right, let's take a break. On the other side, I do want to ask you a couple things. One about the title race and just how people are viewing Oklahoma City, if differently at all. And then one about LeBron James being an all-star this year. Might be the first year he's not. We'll ask you that on the other side. First, what kind of dreams did you have when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? Maybe 2026 is the year you've been thinking about starting your own business for a while, and 2026 is the year you're finally going to do it. Get the courage to go out there and actually pursue your dreams. Well, if you are, you're going to want to know about all of the different tools that help small business owners. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Think about that. 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. flows through Shopify. Shopify even powers the All City merch store where you can buy all of our merch, especially for our local Dallas, Denver, Chicago, Phoenix, Philadelphia, but you can also get all city hoodies and hats and different things. Shopify has you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and more. They also have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into cash with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. Also want to tell you guys about FanDuel, the presenting sponsor of the show. Every Friday, that's today, from 6 to 7:30, it's NBA Happy Hour on FanDuel, your pregame for the weekend. This is cool if you haven't checked it out yet. We're talking limited time specials you won't want to miss, boosts, bonuses, surprises, all dropping in the app during Happy Hour. So before tip-off, check out the FanDuel app to see the week's specials. Then make your move before the shot clock expires at 7:30 Eastern. It's the perfect way to start your weekend. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. It's NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Only on FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, back here, segment 2 of the All NBA Show. It's me and Marc Stein. If you guys are enjoying the show, do us a favor. The easiest thing you can do is hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. The second easiest thing you can do is share our stuff on social media. If you see it pop up on Twitter, give it a retweet. Let everybody know you like the show. Marc, we didn't have you on last week because of the holidays, and it was right on the heels of San Antonio beating Oklahoma City, not once but twice in a week, and not just twice but 3 times total on the season. And so I'm curious what people are saying. Did this take the shine off? Minnesota also beat them since we last talked. Is the shine off of OKC in league circles right now?
To a degree. Probably in the moment, it was incredible. The Thunder went from 24-1 to 0-3 against the same team. And look, no less an authority than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander came out and said, if you lose to a team 3 times in a row, you're not the better team. So that obviously raised eyebrows. But as I talked to scouts before games and, obviously trade deadline is the focus of all in-person conversation, texting conversations, whatever it is. But yeah, there's been an uptick in, wow, how vulnerable are the Thunder now? Is this thing blown wide open? But look, let's take a step back away from, the moment. How many teams do we really believe can win the championship as currently constructed? And when you open up the standings, I would love to say when you open up your newspaper, but I know that just dates me. When you open up the standings on your phone or whatever device you choose, I mean, it's not a long list of teams, I think, that you could legitimately say. I mean, look, the East only began with two of those teams, and the Cavs have played much better here of late, but they're still not even in the top 6 of the East yet. They're going to get there. But the Knicks are the team, I think, that most front offices would tell you is the favorite in the East. Obviously, Detroit has had the better record for the bulk of the season to this point. But, the Pistons are still a young, emerging team that has only been in one playoff series, although they played the Knicks really well in that playoff series last year. And in the West, I think, Denver's health situation, how do you ignore that? How do you downplay the severity of it? Because like you said, the worry is, do you end up in the play-in? Can the Nuggets stay in the top 6 without 5 guys? Now they're going to get Gordon and Brown back here reasonably soon, they hope.
Right.
But they don't have Jokic or Valanciunas now.
Which is tough, by the way, for Aaron Gordon, because that means maybe he has to play more minutes at the center coming off of an injury, which is always tough. So, and they're only up 4 games up from the 7-seeded Suns right now. That's the thing about the Western Conference, is the separation between 2 and 7 is so thin that a month without your starting 5 is going to probably cost you that many games. But
and it's funny. One last thing, my concern about it's amazing how fast this changes. My concern about your team all season long was Jokic is playing the best basketball of his NBA life, but what kind of toll is this taking out of him, and how will it affect him down the road in the playoffs? And now that's like a laughable concern, because now they won't even have him for the next month and however long it is. And so,
but that could be a silver lining. He's played pretty much from start to finish every year of his career. He's never had a break. Yes, this is an injury break, but it could be one of those things that we look back and say, hey, he got 4 weeks off or 5 weeks off, whatever it ends up being, in the middle of the year, and that propels him to have a little more juice. I mean, that's the optimistic spin, at least, but it is possible. I still think Denver will be a contender if they're healthy at the end of the year. I mean, I'm just assuming.
Don't get me wrong. I like the Nuggets still better than any other team in the West that you could suggest. Now, San Antonio has beaten the Thunder 3 times, and they are in that tier with the Nuggets and the Rockets. They're in that tier. And again, 3 straight wins over the Thunder. Massive respect for them, but still, Victor Wembanyama, the next playoff game he plays will be the first. This is a very young team. The next playoff game the Spurs play will be the first Mitch Johnson ever coaches. The Spurs, it's very uncharacteristic because San Antonio has been so good for so long. The Spurs very quietly have the second longest playoff drought in the NBA, behind Charlotte's 9 years in a row. So we know the Spurs ceiling is very impressive, but they've got to go through it. They've got to get in the playoffs and experience that. So I would still feel safer saying the Nuggets, if they've got their guys, are more capable of a longer playoff run. And Houston, it's the same deal. Like, I came into the season thinking Houston would be in that conversation to be the foremost threat to the Thunder.
Why not?
But they do miss Fred VanVleet.
Yeah.
They started well. They had a dip. They've bounced back here lately. They've won 4 in a row. But there are times that they do miss some traditional guard play.
Here's why I think the shine should be off of OKC. Not that they're not the favorite, not that they don't deserve a ton of respect. They are 0-3 against San Antonio. They have not yet played Denver and will not until February. Yoke might be back for that one, probably not, but they won't play until February. They've played Houston once. It was on opening night. That game went to double overtime, if you recall, and that was opening night. Not that it doesn't mean anything, but it just was so long ago, and it was a close game. They've played Minnesota twice. They've won one. They've lost one. So those are the teams. When you say that, those are the teams that they're competing with in the Western Conference. Haven't played Denver, lost to the Spurs, 1-1 against Minnesota, and only one win against Houston that was in double overtime. I say, yeah, man, that all signs point towards those top teams. It's going to be a bloodbath. And as much as they seem to be better than everyone else at all the other teams, at beating up on the middle class and lower class of the NBA, when it gets to those tough teams, they're all just right there, and it's going to be a slugfest.
The only thing is only the Spurs have Wemby.
Yeah.
And I think Wemby's length and presence and just how much of the paint he eats up, that is a big reason why the Spurs have proven to be so successful against the Thunder. And with their core of perimeter defenders and Wemby as an anchor, they have bothered SGA more than anybody. And that's something that can anybody else in the West replicate that? I mean, obviously there is only one Wemby. So,
well, we'll finish with maybe a lighthearted topic, maybe not, and that is LeBron James just turned 40. He just turned 41, and over this week, and for the first time that I recall, I think the first time ever, he is not showing up as one of the top vote getters in the Western Conference All-Star ballot. I think he came in 9th or something like that. I don't know that he warrants being voted in by the coaches or by the players. There's a lot of good players in the Western Conference. Is it possible LeBron James is just not an all-star this year?
No.
Really?
Simple? You know what? No, I'll say it like this. There are only two ways that we won't see LeBron James in an all-star game in Los Angeles, remember. The city where he plays.
Yeah.
It would be if an injury ruled him out, or if he declines the invitation.
He did last year, kind of. I mean, it was injury related, but he kind of declined it.
So if he says he doesn't want to play, then he won't be an all-star. But the league, Adam Silver is going to invite him one way or another. If there are any injuries in the West, and obviously there already is one with the Jokic situation, Adam Silver can just pick LeBron James as an injury replacement, and nobody will be able to bat an eye. And if for some reason there are no injury replacements, or the league decides to pick players who do better in the coach's vote than LeBron will, which is how they typically choose the injury replacements, Adam Silver can just say, commissioner's latitude, commissioner's power. I mean, remember in 2019, Dwayne Wade announced it was going to be his last season. Dirk Nowitzki did not announce it, but it was widely assumed that it was going to be his last season. And Adam Silver said, guys, I'm making you both all-stars. You're going out as all-stars. And they were both in Charlotte as honorary all-stars. And so, to me, the only thing...
Is LeBron retiring, though?
No. I mean, I said we don't know. We don't know if it's his last season or not. But it could be his last season. So that's what leads me to think that Adam Silver will the ball will be in LeBron's court. Adam Silver will say, LeBron, do you want to be an injury replacement, or do you want me to just put you in the game? And I guess it is conceivable that LeBron could say no, but that's the thing. He just turned 41, as you said, on December 30th. Is this his last season? We don't know. Presumably only LeBron knows. Maybe even LeBron isn't sure. So if he's not sure, wouldn't he want to participate in an all-star game in the city where he lives? Also, don't forget, in recent years, like LeBron has gotten the pass to basically skip the first 2 days of All-Star weekend, swoop in on Sunday. He does the press conference before the All-Star, because all All-Stars have obligatory media obligations.
And it's a lot. It's a lot over the weekend.
But LeBron, there's been, I'm trying to remember if it was Indiana or maybe it was the All-Star, but I think it was Indiana or one of these recent All-Star games. LeBron did not come to Friday or Saturday All-Star festivities, came in Sunday, did a pregame press conference, played in the game. The league would happily let him do that if that's what it takes to get him involved. The league would want LeBron to be involved. So again, the only way he's not going to be there is if he chooses to pass on it, or, again, I don't even want to talk about more injuries because we've had too many as it is.
Well, here's my take on it. One, we don't know if this was his retirement tour and okay, I would get it, sentimental or whatever. I just think he's going to be back next year. Then are we going to do this whole thing again?
Yes.
And then,
yes.
You know what I mean? And then, so for me, I'm like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And then the second part of it is the league is in a spot right now where I feel like it's in purgatory, trying to move on to the new era. The Warriors are down there in the 8 seed right now. Steph is still there. I mean, it's not like he's gone, but they're not the marquee story that they were for a decade. LeBron is struggling at the moment. This is a down season for him, quite a down season for him. But there's all these players, Wembanyama, Shea, these guys are enough. The league has stories. Anthony Edwards, they have Cade Cunningham. There's all these big names that, to me, I'm like, let them take over. The league needs them to take over. So to give LeBron multiple years of this going away tour, all-star charity bid, to me, it seems so silly. And it almost like, in my mind, the All-Star game is about promoting what's going on in the league. It almost suppresses what's going on in the league to keep telling this sentimental story that, by the way, might go on for another 2 or 3 years.
I guess I would say the All-Star game, there are so many issues with it and so much negative discourse about it as it is that I don't know whether LeBron is or isn't there can change what we're going to say about the Sunday night product. Like
probably not.
Normally I would be so excited about USA versus World. The international game, as you know, has been such a huge part of my coverage for more than 30 years. And I would be like, again, normally I would think this is an amazing thing, but like I've actually been rooting against it because to do it, this 3 teams of 8, they've tried this and it does. I just don't think it works. It doesn't, like, it's just too weird. People don't even know how it, like, they don't even understand how the format works. And a true USA versus World, 12 versus 12, as I've always said, it would be fun, but it would not be fair in a league where there are 125 international players and more than 300 American-born players. Yeah. It's not fair to the American-born players to say, to those 300-plus guys, you only get 12 All-Stars, and this group that's only 120-something players, they get 12 as well. It wouldn't be fair. I don't know. I'm I want to be surprised. I want it to be great. I want to love it. Not optimistic, man.
I'm ready just for the new era to take over. The storylines to me are all new era storylines, but we have this almost appendage hanging on. And again, great player, LeBron, all timer. It has nothing to do with that. I even like that he's in the league. I'm not trying to push him out the league. It's just that if you're not good enough to be have one of these honors, we shouldn't do it year after year after year just for, sentimental value. That's just kind of how I feel. Let me know in the comments how you feel. Maybe nobody cares about the All-Star game. I truly don't. I always take a vacation around that time anyway. So it's not like I care. I care about more what it means than the actual game, but maybe I'm alone on that. Let me know in the comments and let me know what you think. Mark, good stuff. I know you got to get over to Amazon, do one of your many, many jobs that you have in the NBA. So I'll let you get to it.
I appreciate it, sir. Happy New Year to everyone. Thanks for being with us. And I know we will be doing this again soon.
Absolutely. Everybody hit that like button for us on the way out. Make sure you're subscribed. Leave us a comment. We'll see you next time.
We all silly like the mayor.